Aviation fans, welcome back to another episode of Imperial Diecast. Last week I reviewed the Boeing 727-100, and today we'll check out, for the first time on my channel, the more popular variant, the Boeing 727-200 in 1/500 scale by Herpa. So as you can see, this is what the box looks like. Here we get the American Airlines branding, which is the livery that the model is in. And here is a picture of the real plane, which looks pretty good. You can see it says here Boeing 727-200 with registration. This is Herpa catalog number 503136. And if we look at the back of the box, you can see that we have here the original dimensions, with a wingspan of 32.92 meters, a length of 40.59 meters, which is around 6 meters longer than the Dash 100, allowing it to carry up to 30 more passengers, and with a height of 9.72 meters. So let's unbox it. I think I paid 13 euros for this, which is a decent price for an old-gen Herpa. But the main reason why I picked it up is because of the American Airlines livery, which fits really well on the 727, as you will see in a moment. And here it is. The Boeing 727-200. The 727 was Boeing's short-haul airliner, which competed with Douglas's DC-9, and while the DC-9 was more efficient in terms of needing only 2 engines, quite impressive for the 60s, the 727 could seat more passengers than any DC-9 variant from the 1960s, and ETOPS regulations allowed it to even fly overseas. But with a range of only 3,500 kilometers, the Dash 200 variant would fall short of any transatlantic service. The first 727-200 was flown by Northeast Airlines in late 1967, around 3 years after the shorter 727-100's first flight. Now this plane is in the livery of American Airlines, which had already started using the shorter Boeing 727-100s from 1964 onward, and the 727s remained in American Airlines' service till 2002. So we'll start our review by taking a look at the port side of the aircraft, at the L1 door, and you can see that it has a porthole. Next to it we have the American title, and underneath it you can see the window line, which unfortunately does not have any passenger window frames. So the windows are a little hard to see against the striping, but you can see that we have the classic red, white, and blue striping to mark the colors of the American flag. Now, as we move along the side of the plane, you can see that we have the 2 overwing exits here, and another L4 door, I think? Yeah. The 3 engines, and of course the T-tail with the American Airlines branding on the vertical stabilizer. Now, on the number 2 engine, you can see that we actually also have the American flag and the plane's registration, which is November 719 Alpha Alpha. Now, as we move on to check out the wings of the plane, you can see that Herpa did a fairly okay job with the wings. I mean, if we look at the T-tail, the Horizontal stabilizers here do have some carvings for the elevators, and a look at the wings themselves makes you realize that they are two-colored or two-toned. You can see some detailing for the slats, and then of course we have the flaps with the ailerons, the air brakes, and all that stuff. But unfortunately no emergency exit markings. The engines of the 727-200 are the same as on the Dash 100, which is Pratt & Whitney JT8Ds. And unfortunately on this Herpa mold of the 727-200, the same mistake is repeated, which is that the number 2 engine has its fan blades modeled just like the number 1 and the number 3 engine, even though in reality, engine number 2's air intake is an S-duct on the 727, just like on the Lockheed L1011. So it's just supposed to be a tube, and no engine should be seen there. But anyway, it looks okay. And if we take a look at the front of the plane, you can see that Herpa did add a little bit of extra detail in the form of silver cockpit window frames, which are still distinct from the silver fuselage. And we also get eyebrow windows. So this looks okay. With this being an older Herpa, the fuselage is unfortunately just in a matte silver color instead of having a chrome finish, but I think that the paint has been really selected well by Herpa in the sense that it does still convey the feeling of a chrome finish. And taking a look at the other side of the plane, you can see that on this model, even though it is an old generation Herpa, we do get cargo doors, both the front and on the aft section. However, the wheels are unfortunately the old generation ones, so they're a little clunky looking. But, I mean, otherwise, the plane actually looks really good. And also you can see here that we get some detail for the rudder on the vertical stabilizer. And the APU exhaust, or actually I should say engine number 2 exhaust, also has some extra details on it, just like the number 1 and number 3 engine. Now taking a look at the bottom of the plane. You can see that it says Herpa here in the middle, but apart from that, we have like the 727-200 stamped onto the fuselage, but otherwise there's really not much else going on. So yeah. Now for the comparison, you can see here a 727-100 lined up against this 727-200, and you can just see how much longer the 727-200 is. If we compare the two fuselages, as I mentioned in the start of my video, the 727-200 is almost 6 meters longer. So it has definitely more room, and unfortunately it has a shorter range compared to the 727-100. So both planes fulfilled different roles. So I hope you guys liked my review of the 1/500 scale Herpa Boeing 727-200 in the American Airlines livery. Even though it's an old generation Herpa, I think it's a really cool looking model, and a nice reminder of a bygone era. If you're interested in more plane reviews, be sure to check out some of my other reviews here. For example, the 727-100 in the Northeast Airlines livery. Anyway, I'll see you in the other ones. Take care, have a wonderful day. This is Imperial Diecast, signing out.